Welcome to the Choosing Change Women Working Towards a Better Media Image panel. Tonight we have the opportunity to delve into some of the pressing discussions that arose from our viewing of the film Misrepresentation, and have some of our own questions answered by people who work in the media industries. Our panel tonight includes Liz Netto, Lauren Schulman, Chris Bergam, and Angelina as the panel moderator. We're honored to have such distinguished women and a man with us this evening, and I hope you enjoyed the presentation.
This is a continuation of our conversation about women in the media, and I've been interested in hearing comments that students have been making since our earlier discussions this year about women in the media, and we realized that we wanted to bring the topic back, and we wanted to bring in tonight some people who work in film so that you could ask some questions. And the folks up here are going to be doing their best to be answering those questions from their own perspective and their own lives.
I'm trying to figure out all kinds of questions as far as why people are changing their look to look the way that they do. It's not just thinness now, hair color, clothing. It's curious. There is this sort of norm, and we're perpetuating it over and over, and the advertisers are really happy because hair color sales are going up and up and up. And putting photos of yourself out there and being proud of who you are, that's the beginning of it. By asserting your ideas and yourself and what interests you, that's going to start changing the representation and what people want to see in the media.
I think probably the confidence that you have in this all-girls, young women environment is something you'll realize even more when you go to college and are in these co-ed environments.
You will find that many of your female sort of colleagues, other students, are strangely quiet in class, even if it's a women's studies class. And you won't be. You will be surprisingly confident and unafraid to speak your voice in a room full of 500 people, even if you think at Westover you are shy. More than anything else, you have each other as confidants and intellectual equals to bounce ideas and thoughts off of. And this dialogue that you have with one another is something that you may have for the rest of your lives, and it's really important. And a lot of other women don't have it. They weren't given an opportunity ever in their lives to develop it. This is another reason why I think being in an all-girls school is wonderful. You guys are getting a set of tools and a sense of respect for yourselves that is very difficult to cultivate in a co-ed environment right now.
Changing culture is hard, and it's hard, and it doesn't happen overnight.
Well, I think you have to keep telling women's stories. And I've worked a lot globally in Afghanistan and Southeast Asia and Latin America. And what's been interesting there is also giving women the means to tell their own stories. And that makes a real difference in terms of what other women see and what everybody sees. It's just sort of a great way to get the word out. And I think it also made them stronger and more confident in their own voices.
The only way to change that is to continue to stand up. And it doesn't mean that you have to be strident, but it does mean you have to say what you think. And you have to have a network, a sisterhood behind you who are going to do the same thing.
I think there's a lot of women working in television, and there's particularly a lot of women working in documentaries. I new in feature films, there's a lot of women working in the production side, but I know you do still see very few female directors.
There are definitely fewer female directors and fewer female writers across the board, and that's actually true for the news as well. I work in sports. There are far fewer women in sports. Far fewer women. I think that leads to this women's body image. One of the things that, it's sort of tagging along to the idea of this super thin, non-athletic body type that we see.
In the film industry, there's really two kind of divisions. One is the production side, which is, well, let's start with the development side, where someone decides to make a movie, and it's based on a screenplay or a book or a play or something. And there are a lot of women on that side. Anyone who's a good English student or history or any of that stuff, you're just trying to find good stories, and stories that will make movies and movies that will make money. And that's just brains, and that's where women compete very well. And the production side is a different story because it's kind of what I do, which is if the phone rings tonight when I get home, I could be leaving tomorrow for some place, I don't know where, and it could be for a year at a time. And in our society, while women are still raising children, it's a very difficult, you have to have the right situation with a partner, that your partner is prepared to take responsibility to drop the hat for your children. And so in a more traditional household, it tends to be mothers that do that, and the husbands who are more flexible in terms of those working hours. It's a very tough business if you're a director. And I think it's more of a challenge for women whose nature isn't to be quite so mean-spirited and tough to fight off all those forces that are asking you to compromise.
It's possible to do it. And so know that. Know that if you want to do something, if you want to direct, if you want to be a gaffer or an electrician, you can do it. It's a choice, and each of you is going to have opportunities to make choices. And that's what this is about. All of this is about choices, and you have. There's more product available for sale for adolescents and young children now, and that's really why they're making more content. There are more parents who want to buy more things. It's become an increasingly more consumptive society.
It's all based on how many people watch. So if, 100,000 people watch versus 1 million, they're going to put on 1 million.
This is something that, as I said to Anne, that I'm working on. I'm very passionate about it. I happen to believe 2 years ago, the woman who was the executive assistant to the president of ESPN tried to get them to start a women's sports television network, and she made peace with them and settled for a website, which is not good enough. 10 years ago, Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell spent a lot of money and a lot of time trying to start a women's sports television network, and they couldn't get it done. But I think there's an opportunity now, and it's something that we might see happen soon. Sports television is still run by men. They're not as progressive as Chris. They happen to believe that no one will watch it. I happen to think that they're wrong. And I'm hoping to change that.
I'm sure that those young ladies are feeling the pressure to conform to that script and to continue to work and to build their career in maybe not such a nice way. Obviously it does happen. All this, there are a lot of women participating in this, you saw misrepresentation, those were obviously all women, so they're doing that for their own reasons.
So I think what I'm hearing the panel saying from Liz's earlier comment and from Chris's that it's both. That the films are more appealing and more attractive to both genders, and it is an advancement of your career. So it sounds to me like you're saying both of those things.
It's interesting. I think it is anything that's new and outrageous is exciting and stimulating and shocking. And that gets your eyeballs, wow. And I think that it's amazing and wonderful to see the wide range of models. And I think that people are excited to look at these different looking women because it's something new.
you go out in the world, how you dress, how you present yourself to the world is yours and yours alone. And other people will make comments about it, and I think that's happened since the beginning of time. But change is your choice.
Yeah, I mean, we have to be careful to not say that an appreciation for beauty or an appreciation for creativity and expressing oneself through fashion is necessarily a negative thing, or to be proud of your fit body is bad. What is bad is if that's something that you feel pressured about on all sides and consumed about, or and you look upon yourself negatively. Oh, I'm not stylish enough. Oh, I don't look as beautiful as the images that are being projected to you through magazines and content.
Yeah, I think that's a great answer, because it's just the way you look is, it is one thing that defines you, but it's one of many things that define you. And I don't think there's anything wrong with feeling good about how you look, or wanting to feel good about how you look. The danger becomes when that becomes your obsession, and it defines, you use it to define all of you. We are going in the right direction in terms of rights for women, but we're not nearly there yet.
We can all do better. We can make content, fiction and nonfiction content, which will have a wider base and, like you said, a wider array of characters, which will set a new standard and a greater openness to what is the norm and what is more exciting. And that will further inform the advertisers of what we want.
I just think that more you have to continue to be in the workplace and influence what's happening, whether it's in banking or films or wherever you go. You have to demand equality. You have to take that part that's sexist out of it and demand respect for your intelligence and what you have to offer.
We have so much work to do. And I think that the way we do that work is to do the kind of thing we're doing right here tonight, which is to sit down together as women and say, where's our power and what do we do with it?
You're the most empowered generation of young women the world has ever seen. If you've never looked up the word feminist in a dictionary,